Hey, what's up, YouTube? All right, so today we have a different adventure. Today we're going to try and put the motor mount on the passenger's side of the vehicle on the Mazda Speed 6. So that's what I'm going to try and tackle today, and we'll see how that goes. Hopefully it'll go considerably a lot smoother than the brake line. So let me get changed because I just got home from work, and let's get to it. All right. All right, so as you can see, I've changed, and I'm out here in my garage, and I've taken the undercover part. I don't even know what that piece is called, but you can see how filthy it is from underneath the engine. And I am now in the process of setting up the jack so I can put a little pressure on the engine by way of the oil pan. So let me show you that real quick, show you what that looks like. Okay, so here we are under the car. I've put a piece of wood on the jack, as you can see right here, and in between the jack and the oil pan, just to protect the oil pan, so I can apply a little pressure. That way I can loosen up the original motor mount, and that way it'll give it some support, and that's according to what everybody on YouTube is saying, and according to the, I believe, the Damon Mount website as well. And I'll show you what the OEM motor mount looks like. Okay, so let me get a close-up look of the OEM motor mount. No judging, but that is it right there. Yes, that is flaking and all broken, so I'm curious to see what it looks like underneath that. So again, don't judge me, I'm not a car guy. When I first saw the Mazda Speed 6, I fell in love with it, and I've always enjoyed it, and so unfortunately I didn't know what I'm learning now. So it's starting to get a great deal of TLC, and let's get started. Okay, so a little update. So it took me a bit, and the help of my beautiful wife right there to do this. In fact, I might use your face as a thumbnail for this.
No.
So what the issue is that there's really no good way to set this up. These bolts down here, according to the website, are at, I think, at 40 foot-pound, but this one up here is actually at 60 foot-pound. And so trying to work that, trying to get leverage on this one on this nut while you're trying to torque it on this side was a task. Not to mention that I didn't have the right size wrench to begin with to apply to this, so I ended up having to use a plumber's wrench or a monkey wrench or whatever you want to call those, adjustable wrench. Anyhow, finally got it done, so we're boogieing on. Okay, so I'm gonna try and video this as best as I possibly can. I'm gonna try and put a little pressure on the jack so you can see just how much it moves. And I'm doing this by the oil pan, so I'm not lifting the motor too much, but here goes. So just for your viewing pleasure, hopefully you can see the movement of the engine. And applying a little pressure, a little more, and there we go. And so you hopefully saw how it lifted right here. Give it a little bit of space. I'm not sure if that's enough pressure, but we'll try that out and see. Okay, so I removed the center bolt first. This is a little grounding wire. That got obviously removed as well. And then the two bolts or nuts that go on this. And I took the whole cap off. Here it is. With this is what was on top of it, if y'all recall. Anyhow, that's what the motor mount looks like, and yeah, I'd say it needed replacing. I'm no expert, but I don't believe it's supposed to be doing that. So, all right, let's keep trucking along. Okay, next up is to remove that bolt that you see right there, straight down in the middle of all that guck, and then this one back here that kind of looks sort of reddish, and then there's one more way down there. You can see it down here. I'm sorry I can't point because I'm holding a flashlight, actually a light, not a flashlight, a light, and an iPad at the same time. But that's basically what what's holding that in place right now, and I'll go ahead and remove that and take it out. Okay, so the original engine mount is out, and as you can see, it was extremely filthy, deteriorated. The rubber was gone. Not sure exactly how this is supposed to work, but pretty sure it's not supposed to work like that. So obviously I was in desperate need of a new one, and we'll put the new one in. And in terms of the space where it was at, you can see how filthy it was. Now, why is there so much oil in here, you might ask? We did have some work done on this Speed 6 several years back, some major work in fact. We kind of ran it without oil for a period of time, and again, I've not been a car guy, so I'm learning as I go. I know not to do that again, so here we go. Okay, so I'm getting ready to put the mount in, and one bit of caution: once you put the mount in, you won't have any room to reach behind here and the rest of the engine well or housing. There's just no room. So what you might want to do is just drop that bolt in so that you can kind of try and align it with the hole at the bottom, while at the same time aligning these two bolts up at the top, and hopefully that'll work. Otherwise you're going to have a task trying to drop a bolt in there in that hole. So I'll continue on, and I'll show you the results here in a second. All right, fellas, so here is the end result. I finally got it in. It does take some playing around. You have to lift and lower the engine a little bit. At first, when I put it on, I hand tightened the two bolts, that one there and that one back there. Hand tighten those, and then this base plate right here was not flush mounted with this. I didn't just want to just put the nut on there and squeeze it and force it in place, so I just lowered the engine a little bit. That didn't do it, so I raised the engine up some more. This back part was just getting caught on the threads of that bolt there, and I was able to just wiggle it around a little bit. Once I did, it dropped in place, and it was then flush mounted with this part of the engine, and I was able to go ahead and tighten the bolts up by hand, and then I torqued them down. According to the website and the instructions, those two bottom, that one there and that one, get torqued down to 45 to 50 foot-pounds, and these two nuts here, they get mounted, they get torqued down to 60 foot-pounds. In the instructions, I'm going to tell y'all also that there is an option for you to replace these two bolts. I did not do that. The replacement bolts would be black, which that would be, it would look cool, but honestly, I don't care about that. I'm not going for looks here. I'm going for performance, and I did manage to clean that up a little bit, as much as possible. You can see, I wish I would have shown y'all earlier, because it's night and day difference. Let me see if I can get my light down there so you can see. But it does look night and day difference. I couldn't get to the area. I believe this metal unit here is a power steering, I don't know what you would call it, module or whatever it is. So I couldn't get to everything down in there. It's still kind of filthy, if you can see. And I'm going to try and figure out how to clean all that down there up, so I can hopefully keep a better eye on the Mazda and see how it's running. And from now on, I'll hopefully do a better job, better ownership, and have a much better performing Mazda. So, all right, so here is the final product. I've got my light in the way here, and that's what I was trying to hold earlier. But as you can see, let me move the light a little bit. The grounding wire, I ended up moving, and I bent that little tab up at the very end. Let me see if I can get that. This little tab here. That little tab used to go into this hole right here, and what the instructions say is to bend it up or out of the way so that you can rotate it. The reason for that is because that grounding wire is kind of short. But as you can see, you could probably get away with it, because what I did was I routed it under my brake lines and over to the nut over here. Sorry about the filming. I routed it under the brake lines there, and it is connected to the supplied nut that you get from when you order your engine mount. And it goes right here on, replaces your valve cover, one of the valve cover nuts. Now that nut, which is this, one of these right here, is kind of a pain to get out. It's not a simple nut, and I'll show you here what it looks like in a second, but the screw the bolt that Damon Motorsports provides is rather lengthy. As you can see, it goes all the way down to the bottom down there. I'm trying to get my finger in the way, but anyhow, it's kind of lengthy, and the only way to tighten that is with the supplied bolt nut that they give you, which is right here. It takes forever, let me tell you, because you can only turn the wrench maybe a quarter, not even a quarter of a turn at a time. It's more like a 16th or an 1/8 of a turn at a time. But anyhow, that was probably the most tasking thing out of the mounting the new mount is that grounding wire. As for the little bolt that comes out of the valve cover, this is what it looks like. So this little grommet right here, it works in a fashion where as it's screwed in, it kind of tightens up, but when you pull it out, you have to, I really don't know how it works. I just know that it was a pain in the ass to get out, but I finally got it. But that's the bolt right there. Anyhow, that's pretty much it for the video. I'll do my closing in a second. Okay, so final word on the project. That was not a difficult project to do. It was pretty straightforward. According to the instructions from Damon Motorsports, everything worked out pretty well. The little issues were just playing with the engine, moving it up and down so that the bracket would actually fit into place. And honestly, the hardest deal was the little grounding rod or little grounding wire, and how you have to remove it and bend the ends of it so that it'll actually fit. And then the hardware that they provide, it's a little nut that you screw on the bottom of the provided screw, as I pointed out. But the problem with that is that if you drop it in the engine, then it'll take you a good bit to find it, because it's not a very small, or not a very large bolt, or nut rather. But anyhow, the project is done. I am grateful that it's done, and I think the next one will be the rear motor mount. So if you have any questions, just leave them below, and I will try and get to you as soon as possible. And until next time, we'll see you around. Thanks.